Very good. Welcome to Avi Shapiro. Avi, hi, you have the floor. Tell us about yourself and your career in cyber, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, so exciting to see everybody. I thank you, Deborah, for setting this up. Um, I live in Deborah's neighborhood, so this is quite exciting. So my name is Avi Shapiro. I grew up in New York, Muncie specifically. My parents are still there. Go Muncie. Um, I guess I don't want to embarrass myself, but my brother's the famous singer Mordecai Shapiro. I know it has nothing to do with me, but there's a lot of people that connect me with him. I have the same voice. So that's part of my family. We've been singers for a long time, and I moved to Israel about 20 years ago. I was the trailblazer of my family, first to come here. I graduated Yeshiva University, married my high school sweetheart, if you will, and moved here in September of 2000. And I've been basically working in the high tech world. Luckily, I decided to go into high tech immediately after graduating. I did graduate with like a computer degree from YU, so it made sense. I wasn't going to be a programmer. My personality was too large for that. So I ended up going into business development and sales for the last 20 some odd years. I've worked in a variety of different industries. When you're technical and know how to talk to people, so the advantage here in Israel is they need you for everything. I started off in telecom technology, working for a free space optics technology, which is old school technology, but now it's probably like ubiquitous all over the world. Then I moved on to diamond technology. I was working for the New York Diamond Dealers Club online exchange, etc. I worked for different technology companies. I worked for Freightos. If you guys heard of Freightos, for about 4 years, that's freight technology company. And after I left Freightos, it basically went. I came over to Coronet. So I've been with Coronet for the last 3 years as their VP of sales. I started off as director, promoted to VP. Yay, exciting! And essentially, what I wanted to share with you guys tonight is the advantages that we have of being English speakers in a very Israeli um, high tech community. The English speakers are well sought out. Hi, was that Moshe? Yeah. Hey, Moshe. How you doing? Um,
Hi, Avi.
Hi. So the English speakers, um, if you have a technical background, you're extremely valuable. I can't share exactly how much I make, but I make more than programmers, and that's because I get a base salary and I also get commissions. So you have to have an outgoing salesman personality, obviously. But once if that is the personality that you have, so then there is a tremendous opportunity. Like there are, uh, I would even say hundreds of jobs available in the Israeli market now for English speaking BDRs or SDRs they call them, which are the entry level positions. Those are people that are doing cold calling, reaching out via LinkedIn, emailing, et cetera, reaching out to generate new prospects. And then there are account executives, which are the people that I'm hiring these days. I just hired another 6 account executives, uh, 2 of them here in Israel, 4 or 5 of them in the States. Those are the people that do the demos, walk people through the platform, etc. And then you have your directors of sale and your directors of business development, etc. The people that team leaders, managers of these different departments. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm speaking to the people that are open to this concept. I mean, this is sort of, I'm introducing this to you guys as an alternative. I don't want to be too bold about that, but as an alternative to going the technical route. You can take your technical knowledge and utilize it in the sales and even customer support side of things. There must, I mean, Coronet is funded by JVP. One of our main funders is JVP, Jerusalem Venture Partners. They're one of the most aggressive cybersecurity funders here in Israel. I think they've done like dozens of, maybe more, like they specialize. They have a whole division which specializes in cybersecurity. And they're constantly looking for English speaking customer support. So even if you're not a sales guy, but you have technical background, you can assist customers in onboarding, in troubleshooting, and things of that nature. So that's also a tremendously needed and required field here in Israel, because not only do they want to have somebody local that they can speak to in Hebrew, right? Because a lot of these Israeli founders are more comfortable in Hebrew, but they need the English speaking, native English speaking counterpart in order to communicate to the customer and sound professional. Okay. Just as an idea to give you what people make in the industry in terms of like a technical sales guy. So an entry-level position, let's say in Coronet, for example. So we're hiring both entry-level people that are doing straight up cold calls. This might sound like it's a little bit, we're actually kind of cheap. I don't want to say how little we do, but basically we offer a base salary of about 6,500 shekel. And then you get bonuses for every meeting that you schedule. The average guy that works in our team, we have about 10 cold callers or lead generators, SDRs we call them. The average guy makes 12. The top guys are making close to 20. And that's just the entry level. That's entry level. We're hiring anybody. If you can speak on the phone and say a pitch and have a conversation with a IT director, an IT manager in the US, evening hours, Monday through Thursday, you have a job. It literally, the interview process is, you meet my buddy Yaakov Strausberg. He puts them in touch with me. I have a quick phone call. If you sound normal, you're hired. Next level job is an account executive. Account executive, we're looking for people that have a little bit more cyber experience, simply because, just to explain to you what an account executive in cyber does. And then I'm going to explain to you what Coronet does also, just to give you the idea. An account executive in cybersecurity needs to know the lay of the land, right? It's not necessarily need to know how the technology is built and what it's based on, and an SQL attack. I've never seen an SQL attack in my life, or different types of pen testing. And actually, obviously it depends on what you're selling, but what you really need to know is what your product does and how it compares to the competition. Those are the two main factors that you need to know, right? Because when you're speaking to a prospect, they're going to say, well, I already have Cisco, and I already have this Cylance and Symantec and dozens and dozens of competitors, and they already have, or they don't have. Why should I choose you over A, B, and C? And you need to really understand the differences between your company, your service, your platform versus the other players in the market. Clear? Yeah. So I'm like babbling. I usually have like some sort of interaction.
You're doing great, Avi. It's fascinating.
Okay, good. So, so for that reason, when we're looking for account executives or proper salespeople, we need people that have a more of a cybersecurity background, so that we don't have to train them in all the different nuances of all the different what the different companies do, right? It's because that takes a long time, and Coronet currently doesn't have the bandwidth, because we're growing so quickly. We don't have the bandwidth to train new salespeople on cyber. Welcome to cyber. You should just know that I came with zero background to cyber. I happen to be a very fast learner. My first 3 months with Coronet, I sat with the CEO for 4 hours a day and went to school. That's what I did. And he quizzed me and drilled me and told me to look up classes on LinkedIn. They have courses that you can sign up for like intro to cybersecurity. And it was very, very helpful. And from there, I was able to, just not patting my back, guys, but I just want to give you the ideas of what's happening here. Coronet had $0 in sales before I joined about 2.5 years ago. We're up to almost $3 million in annual recurring revenue at this point.
Impressive.
Nice.
So the idea is, if you learn how to pitch the product and learn how to communicate with people, so then with the help of and tremendous Siyata Shmaya, it's nothing to do with you. It's actually all Siyata Shmaya. So then you'll be successful. So what does an account executive make in Israel? Cornet's base salary, I can't really share so much because it's probably too much, but the starting is between 15 and 20,000 shekel base, and then you make an extra 15 to 20,000 shekel bonus.
You mind translating into US dollars, please?
Seven-
Tell us something about what Americans working for.
Like
Cornette-
it's,
Cornette
yeah,
earned.
I'm in New Jersey.
And
You
New
translate
Jersey,
into Bitcoin.
yeah, translate to Bitcoin. So in New
Is that
Jersey,
monthly or yearly?
Yeah, I'm confused.
Or weekly?
okay, that's okay.
Yeah,
So
put it into American.
it's around $70,000 to $80,000 base salary and another $70,000 to $80,000 in bonus. So a good account
Per
exec
year? You're saying? Sorry.
per decade. Per decade. What do you mean per year? What the heck? Yeah. What are you talking about? Per month? You know, yes. You're hired. You're hired. You know, if that was the first question that I got at my interview, and I'm like, oh, what's the salary? Well, it's about 70, 80,000. Is that per year, sir? Next candidate, please. You know, like I'd be like, you know, part of the interview process, you have to know what to ask, when to ask. You're in front of a lot of people. No, I don't want to embarrass you, Esther. Come on. That was a very good question. But yes, usually it's about $80,000 a year base and another $60,000 to $80,000 in bonus. So for New York, it's okay, not a terrible salary. We hire in Pittsburgh, in Utah, Texas. We just hired a few people out of Austin. So we have people in North Carolina. Money like that in these different states is very, very significant. And these guys are technical and good and nice speakers. It doesn't really make a difference like wherever you live, but hiring in New York, you have to pay a little bit higher. In Israel, it's basically more closer to like $6,000 a month and $6,000 in bonus. 12,000. You can make $120,000, $130,000 a year here in Israel, which is an incredible salary. And then again, that's only an account executive. Once you start getting to directors or hi kids, look at the kids. Anyway, so once you get to the directors and things like that, no, Chav, it's okay. They're going to be in learning their whole lives. It's okay, you know. So the Israeli high tech industry has changed. I've been with the high tech industry for the last 20 years. I can tell you that the salaries that they give for salespeople and especially for Americans has literally tripled in the 20 years that I've been working here, as opposed to some of my other family members who have been in. I have other family members who are in construction or in other industries like. I've heard even that my daughter is going into architecture, 7,000 shekel a month. And then if you're really knocking out of the park, 12,000 shekel a month, woo, right? The other industries of Israel have not graduated as opposed to the high-tech industry. Why? It's very simple. The high-tech industry this month alone, I don't know if you guys are following, in Israel raised over $4 billion in a month. $4 billion, that's a lot of money, was invested in Israeli high-tech companies just in this month alone.
Was that in a year or a month?
That's not nice. That's a very good question, Jonathan. It's a month, but it's a month. So the idea
Probably
was
Dubai, no? All the Dubai guys?
No, not necessarily. What's happening is what we're seeing is that the world is coming out of Corona. And Israel being the first country to come out of it is getting a lot of investment dollars. And come up with a good idea, you'll probably, go like that, you probably get some money.
Isn't it mainly because the customer base is outside of Israel?
So what's funny is that cybersecurity has specifically, again, I can't really talk about other industries, even though automation is the name of the game. Israel is all of the high-tech industry in Israel is constantly looking for tikkun ulam, right? You guys ever heard this before? Have you? No, have you? Because I once heard a speech by somebody, I don't know, maybe it was Hillel Fold or something. You should get Hillel Fold on this program, but he's probably too expensive. But Hillel once gave a presentation.
How much are we paying you?
We don't monthly or yearly, but the idea is that the way that different startups in the world do, like for example, there's startups that do let's call it, binary trading or fintech, like stealing people's money, whatever. There's other industries that are in the high tech world which are there to exploit humans. A lot of ad technology, which is again manipulating people, that does not come out of Israel. It comes out of San Francisco, West Coast, or other countries. I'm not kidding. Why? Because the Jewish person here wants to better the world. So what they do is they look at processes and they're like, oh, that's not automated enough. Let me create crazy automation and simplification in order to perfect this system with some sort of software. And then that software gets acquired or utilized, right? Like Waze and like the more, I'm giving some famous examples, but the majority, if not the vast majority of Israeli high-tech startups surround the concept of tikkun olam. Say it like an Israeli, like of improving the world, as opposed to exploiting people and taking advantage. So,
can I ask something?
Sure, Mrs. Silber.
I was wondering, you were saying that knowing English and knowing Hebrew is a big plus when you know them simultaneously. Does it also help in your company if I know a few more languages, or is it just English and Hebrew that help?
No, it's absolutely helpful. There's, again, hundreds of Israeli companies that need multiple languages. Coronet specifically is focusing on the US market, but everybody, and eventually we're going to be focusing on the European market, the Far East market as well. But absolutely, there's definitely opportunities for cybersecurity companies that are looking for multiple languages. The biggest problem that everybody's going to have in terms of entering into any high-tech role is experience. You need that first job. So people send in their resumes. I look at like literally dozens of resumes every day, and I'm very particular at this point for the different roles that I'm looking for. So at the entry level jobs, I really don't care if you've done anything in sales before, and if you could speak normally on the phone. So then again, from a Coronet perspective, you're basically hired. And from many cybersecurity companies, like the entry level positions, which are also between 6,000 to 8,000, 9,000 shekel base plus bonuses, you need to know somebody usually to get that first role. If your resume is just completely irrelevant, Gan Yeladim, cybersecurity specialist. No, that doesn't work. I need to see some relevant history here before I hire, the ganene, so that's the biggest problem of getting your foot in the door. I'm hoping that Somet can make those introductions, because essentially, if they can't, I can also try to help. I do have a different friends who work in different industries, and the key to becoming even entry level in any specific industry, forget about cybersecurity. I know that this is a cybersecurity course, which is even more relevant. It's just about who you know. It's basically getting your foot in the door and proving yourself as a good sales rep, customer service rep, etc. That's basically, that's how it works. But to answer your question, obviously directly, yes, the fact that you have multiple languages can definitely help.
Thank you.
There's a question.
Sure.
So talking about sales, I guess it's two questions. Like, first of all, do you have to be like more of an extrovert to work in sales? And number two, is it something that it's related to the first question? Is it something that somebody could develop like another skill?
Yes, of course, you have to be an extrovert in order to enjoy sales. If you're not an extrovert, you will not enjoy it. You're not going to enjoy going to work every day. I love going to work every day. My family loves my stories. I actually infuse Yiddishkeit into all my sales. I don't know much. I don't have that much time, but I'll give you guys a very cute anecdote. Yesterday, I was interviewing some guy. He was from Texas, 25-year-old kid. And I knew right away, immediately, I can tell whether they're relevant or not. And this guy was not relevant. He was a slow talker. He was talking kind of funny. I need somebody who can speak quickly, efficiently, like a good orator, a good presenter, and has good communication skills. And I could tell right away that he wasn't relevant. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to ask you. I started off by saying, I'm not going to ask you the normal questions that my HR woman asks. He's like, what do you mean? What kind of questions? I'm like, well, what if you wrote an autobiography? And Rafael, do you know what an autobiography is?
Yeah.
What's an autobiography? Just to make sure
It's
that
you write about yourself. You write a biography by yourself.
excellent. You write a book about yourself. So this guy, I'm like, what if you write an autobiography? And I saw that he was like, face went a little bit queer. I'm like, this guy doesn't even know what the hell an autobiography is. It's a little strange. Okay, so I'm like, well, that's if you write a book about yourself. So then he's like, oh yeah. So I said, well, what would be the title of the book? So he's like, whoa, what a question. Now, by the way, this happens to be some questions that they ask you at the interview to see how you react, to see. So he's like, I don't know, the Life of Rob. I'm like, that's a boring name. Nobody's gonna read that book. They're like, what is your passion? What do you want to do with your life? He's like, I don't know. I said, okay, let me ask you another question. He just met me 30 seconds ago, and I'm like, I'm in his face. So I'm like, what do you want written on your tombstone? What? I don't think about death. I said, no. Let's take a step back. If you don't know what you want written on your tombstone, so how do you know how you're going to live your life? How do you know you're going to achieve your goals? And I started giving him this whole Torah hashkafa on like living l'shem shemayim and living with a passion. It's some guy, but it was hilarious to this. How do I sell? I sell meaningful conversations. If I bump into an evangelical Christian, I know for sure I got the sale. It doesn't matter how much it is, how big the deal is. I win every evangelical Christian deal because they look at me, beard. I introduce myself as Avi from Jerusalem. I tell them I have 8 kids. Whoa, they flip out. I have 2. That's too many. 2 is too many. And then I'll make the joke. What do you mean 2 is too many? If you had a third one, would you sacrifice them? Like 2 is too many? Like, no. Like I'm like I'm all over it, right? I'm challenging them. I'm having meaningful conversations. So if you want to excel in sales, you have to be willing to share about your own life and have meaningful conversations with people and have enough knowledge about your product so that you can sell your product. But essentially in the high-tech world, your product is very similar to everybody else's product. So it's all about really establishing the rapport. Let me take a step back because that's a very important sentence that I just said. Establishing rapport, does everybody know what that means? It means building trust. So cybersecurity, you really need to build trust with the person that's buying your product because they're handing over the keys to their sensitive data to you to protect it. So having a beard really helps. I'm not kidding. It's proven that people that have beards sell more than people who don't because it like shows that you're not a slickster, not a used car salesman. So I'm rambling now, guys, but I'm trying to keep everybody animated, but that's the idea. So a good salesperson, just to like wrap it up a little bit, a good salesperson does very, very well here in Israel and abroad, and but it's not easy. And I want to just give you guys a quick background. I'm going to share my screen to show you what Coronet does. Okay? Does everybody see my screen? Good. Now, I hate when people ask that question because it's 2021, and of course you see my screen. But in 1997, when video sharing started, do you see my screen? Wait a minute. What, the guy's like, it's hilarious. So I make fun of everybody that says, do you see my screen? Because it's like very funny of everybody. Of course, everybody sees my screen. But going to Coronet. So Coronet is a cybersecurity platform built for small to mid-sized businesses. This is a very unique segment because 99.9% of all cybersecurity is built for the enterprise. Why is that? Because the enterprises have money and enterprises pay for security. Small to mid-sized businesses don't pay for security. So that's why Coronet was having such a hard time before I arrived because they didn't know how to sell transactionally quick deals with small businesses. Cybersecurity in general is also considered like insurance. I don't really want to buy it, but I have to buy it because if I don't buy it and I get hacked, I'm going to get fired. Okay. So the IT guy, he understands that cybersecurity is important, but when he brings it to the management and says, well, I want to buy this new fancy tool that monitors us 24/7 and it stops email phishing attacks and it stops abnormal login patterns and it stops download bursts and Office 365 abnormal user behavior, et cetera, all these different things that we do, data loss prevention. I mean, Coronet is, just to give you the pitch again, just to back up, because I know I'm jumping ahead of myself. Coronet provides an all-in-one single pane of glass cybersecurity platform that consolidates the main security needs of a small business. Small businesses are basically run on Office 365 or G Suite. And in order to protect that business, because they've moved to the cloud and they have almost nothing on premises anymore, on-prem it's called, they don't have anything on their local servers, but everything's stored in the cloud. So they need cloud security. Now, what does cloud security consist of? It basically means that you're monitoring the Office 365 or G Suite environment for people logging in from two places at the same time, from people downloading tons of files in a single burst, right? Like if somebody's on their OneDrive or SharePoint or Google Drive, and all of a sudden they're downloading tons of files, it means that either somebody's stealing it or an insider is about to steal data. We also monitor what they call DLP. DLP means data loss protection. Have you guys heard of these concepts? You covering a lot of these topics? So DLP specifically is a reference to PAI, PCI, and PHI, personal identifying information, personal health information, and personal credit card information, financial information, where we can track whether that social security numbers, credit cards, financial statements, tax returns, things like that are emailed or shared outside of the organization. That's also considered some sort of data breach or misuse of it, or mis-shared information. We also provide something called endpoint security. So some of the more famous endpoint security companies here out of Israel are Cylance, SentinelOne, and some of the more world famous ones are like Carbon Black, CrowdStrike, FireEye, right? You guys have to learn all of these names. This is all, like, in order to understand really what these companies do, you really have to like sort of delve into the differences of each one of these technologies. But Coronet provides endpoint security with antivirus, standard antivirus. So essentially what we're doing is a small mid-sized business needs cloud security, endpoint security, DLP, and then email phishing security. And the reason why you need all those main things is because you need multiple layers of security. Now, I'm going to stop rambling and I'm going to back up a little bit to explain to you guys one of the best mashalim that I've used in order to explain cybersecurity. Moshe, I'm going to use you as my guinea pig, okay? Moshe, can you describe home security for me? What does home security look like? You're on mute. That's terrible. That's embarrassing.
Okay. I don't mind being embarrassed. It's okay. It's a kapara, I mean.
I hear it. So what's home security look like?
Home security, it could be like cameras. You could have a guard, a person guarding your property. You could have a moat, like a body of water around your castle. You right with the cameras. You could have
an alarm
German
system.
shepherds, dogs,
an alarm system, laser heat sensors.
Okay, I forgot.
No, you're good. You started off great. I know we're running out of time. So the idea is that when somebody describes home security, it's very clear to them that what are they trying to do? Imagine that you're storing your passports, your $1 million in cash, the deed to your home. $1 million is just like you guys are probably storing more, but I'm talking to the poor people of the crew that only have $1 million of cash. So the deed to your home, diamond jewelry, you put that in a safe. Let's count how many layers of security it will take to breach that safe. The safe, we're going to go backwards. The safe is a metal case. It has a combination which is impossible to detect. It's hidden. It's hidden in a secure, not only is it hidden in the wall, but it's hidden in a secure place in the home. Now the home is protected with an alarm system, laser detectors, a front door, a lock, a front yard, a fence, a dog. I'm counting 9, 10, 11 layers of security. Just like, and that's simple. Everybody gets it. Home security is easy to understand. I want to create multiple barriers before a burglar or worse can enter my property and steal things or hurt me. Cybersecurity is built the exact same way. You need multiple layers of security to prevent multiple types of attacks. You'll have your DDoS attack. Yes? No? Learned that yet? Good.
Yeah.
You'll have your firewall. You'll have your email attacks, which includes phishing, impersonations, somebody pretending to be somebody inside the organization, asking people to update their password. You'll have, once your username and passwords credentials are compromised, then there's abnormal user behavior, like downloading tons of files or sending out tons of emails from that user account. There's what else is there? There's antivirus, malware, and ransomware, right? There's a standard, all these things. So Coronet said, let's look at as many threats as we can that will normally affect a small business, because larger businesses have direct attacks. Larger businesses, they pay real hackers a lot of money to break into larger enterprise companies. Small businesses, they just sort of send them and hopefully get lucky, because it's too expensive to pay for a direct attack on a small business. So hence Coronet decided that we were going to build a platform that monitors multiple layers, starts with the email, the endpoint, the cloud app security, the DLP, et cetera, insider threats, outsider threats, in order to give a holistic approach to security to offer multiple layers of defense. And that's basically where we are now.
How many of our students are you going to hire from the New York area?
As many as apply.
Okay, great.
You guys are interested in the sales aspect. A lot of people are interested in the business development sales aspect of it, as opposed to the technical aspect.
Not sure about that. We have some people who are more sales oriented, but most people who took our course are pretty hardcore technical.
Right. I saw from the previous class. I was like, no, it was very exciting, but for me, it was nothing. I wasn't making fun of Leo. Leo was giving a great presentation, but I was just saying that it was from a sales perspective.
This was a more technical class from all our classes.
Leo's
This class, out of all our classes, is one of the more most technical classes, and I'm sure everyone would agree.
Got it. Okay, very cool, very cool.
But Avi, what I was really asking you before was that if you put extrovert and introvert on a spectrum, yeah, someone who's not, all the way to the end, is it something that he could develop? Is it like a skill that a person could work on?
I would say like this: there's a role in the sales world called an account manager. An account manager is not a sales guy. He just has to maintain existing customer relationships. And so normally, if you feel that you're not like a full-blown extrovert, like somebody else here, not me, I'm like an introvert, really. But sometimes when I put on presentations, I like to put on a show, but normally it's like I'm afraid to talk to people. And stuff
You
like
can't
that.
even fake it, Abby.
What?
You can't even fake it.
What? I can't even fake it, Deborah? Is that what you said? I'm a pretty good faker. I should have been on Broadway or something like that. I should have been in Hollywood. I'm a good actor. But so what I'm trying to say is that if you wanted to enter a role where you're customer facing, but you don't have the pressure of selling people, so then you want to go into more of a customer service / account management role, where that you can dip your feet into the customer facing communication, get yourself more comfortable speaking to people. And then from there, if you're like building up gumption, it's a good word. If you're building up confidence, so then you can maybe advance into the sales role and earn more money, because account managers, they don't earn as much as sales guys because the pressure is less. All you do is maintaining customers, right? You're not gaining new customers. So for that role, they just sort of pay you a base salary and you're happy with that. So that's what I would recommend. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
There are certain roles that you can get into as opposed like that can introduce you to these to the salesmanship aspect of technology.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, sure. Quick, if I can. Now I kind of get the person-to-person type of pitch. Hi, it's Ellie Lieberman. Sorry,
I don't see.
I missed introducing myself. Ellie
Hi.
Lieberman.
Hi,
I like you.
Are you related to Saul?
No, my brother.
You know Saul?
Well, if he's not the one from JTS, yes.
I mean, like Norman
In the
Shapiro.
bush.
So Norman, he worked with Norman and everything.
Yeah.
That's so. Tell Saul I say hi.
Will do.
Uncle
We have a
Nor-
scheduled call in the morning.
Norman is my uncle. Saul got me my job at Fredos. Okay, so well, you know what? Let's take this offline. You know what I'm saying? I'm kidding. So Ellie, what's going on?
Okay, so I'm familiar with meetups and stuff like that. I assume.
Sort
Right.
of. I don't really attend these things, but yes, I'm familiar with some of them.
Some networking events. So I understand the interpersonal or the face-to-face pitch. I'm just curious how you navigate the it's not face-to-face, and you kind of lose. I don't know, gravitas. I'm not sure. I can understand making a pitch when I'm standing in front of somebody on the phone.
So
I don't
you
know.
should just know that Corona did a major service to all of us salespeople. Zoom is amazing. I am in front of the video all day, every day.
Oh, so you convert to Zoom. Okay.
Yes, everything is on Zoom, and so now there's face to face, and I get to see if the person's paying attention to me or if the person's like not paying attention to me. So like, I have now real face to face interaction with customers, which is incredible. I make sure that all of my salespeople turn on their videos all day, get dressed. They have to come to work dressed, etc. So the Zoom has helped tremendously in that aspect. And in general, I mean, yeah, it doesn't. If you have the personality, it doesn't really make a difference, phone or not phone. Inside sales is also very. It's very. If you're the right person for the job. So then.
Right. And if I can, one other thing, I got to tell you, what I have in my head from sales experiences have been more along the lines of cold calling versus Zoom. So maybe give me just a little insight of how it works for you in general, the broad strokes.
The cold calling side of it.
No, I'm just saying like the broad strokes of how you develop a client. And now that you have Zoom in your repertoire, that's much better than not seeing them, obviously, but just curious how like for cybersecurity, how you're getting to clients, how you're developing a little bit, just broad strokes if you
I'll
can.
give you guys like a little cute tip. So Coronet basically has, as I said, two types of divisions. There's the SDRs or the cold callers, and then there's the account executives, which is the sales, the higher up sales team. So the SDRs, what they'll do is complete cold call. They go on a dialer system that dials like 10 people at a time. The first person that picks up, the phone picks up by them and then drops the other calls. Like real illegal cold calling. It's not illegal, whatever. It's just in the States.
Robo-dialing.
Robo-dialing, yeah, but robo-dialing with a human. So they'll say,
robo-dialing, yeah.
So this is kind of cute. I mean, for everybody that's listening to this is actually like really, really cool secret sauce stuff. So don't tell anybody that I told you. But basically, we have a way of speaking to people that we go, oh, hi, Ellie. Yeah. Ellie, hi, this is Avi from Coronet. Do you remember we spoke 6 months ago? You told me to call you back now. And no, I don't remember. Oh, come on, Ellie. I know it's been a crazy year, Coronet and Corona. You probably don't remember the name, but you mentioned that you were looking into cloud security a few months ago, and you told me that now would be a much better time to speak to you. Is it okay? Can we speak now? And then the guy feels like a total idiot. A, he doesn't remember that he spoke to you, which is natural because they pick up the phone 100 times. But B, this is like the second or third time that you're calling him, so he has to give you a chance now. So there's a little stick. That little stick now gives you the opportunity to talk. So he's like, okay, so what is this about? Well, I mean, I have it in my notes because we filter who we're calling, that you guys are using Office 365. Is that still correct? Yes. So I already know a little bit about the customer. Okay, very nice. So listen, Coronet protects your Office 365 by doing this, and the other thing, I want to put a few minutes into my accounts, my director's calendar. How does Tuesday at 3 o'clock work? That's it. They give a very, very quick pitch as to what Coronet does. They sort of bamboozle the guy a little bit to thinking that now's the time that he has to meet with us, and he sets it up in the calendar. Then it's my job and my team's job to put on the Zoom, put on the smile, and discover why this customer needs Coronet or needs anything, right? So then we do a whole discovery. I find out what he's using, what he's not using, whether he's secure, whether he's not secure. And then that's how the sales process works. So I have the openers, and then I have like the demoers and the closers. Cool.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. So it makes it a little bit easier, especially if I'm not doing the cold calling. I can't handle cold calling. But
Well, I
anyway,
learned never to use the last name. Hi, I'm calling for Bob. Not
Maybe.
Bob, whatever, because if you're a friend of Bob, you just call him Bob.
yeah, it's true.
It works.
Anyway, I don't want to go too far, take too much time. Everybody's probably like tired. They have to go back to sleep and everything. So this was very, very fun. Catch me next week, same time. No, this is it. It's a one and done.
Thank you very much, Avi. We look forward to continuing to be in touch with you. You're great. We've had some good speakers, but never anything like this. So you're one of a kind, and we really appreciate your time and sharing with us. We hope to send people your way and continue to work together, Bezat Hashem.
Amen. Thank you very much, guys. This was a pleasure.
Will do.
All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now everybody's looking for the leave button, and then everybody's like sticking on, and then where's the leave button? And I'm still here. Are you still here? I'm still here. Oh, no. Can somebody click end already? What's going on? Classic. I'm making fun. It's funny because this is what happens all day. Every day
Jonathan didn't tell you we go to midnight.
This happens every day on my meetings. The guy's like,
Eastern time.
you see him looking for the leave button or the end button, and it's just like silent at the end. Like, go, just leave already. Okay, guys.
I put a double session for you.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
So thank you.
Good night.